I am going to show you how I'm going to combine two images. This is my Nicholas Blueberry Nest template, which is fresh flowers, and here is a picture of a little boy shot on some green fluff, which has already been retouched, not in complete detail because I can see a little speck there, but it's had the skin work done. I didn't shoot this image specifically for that template, but I actually designed the template with my images on green fluff in mind. So yeah, this is a perfect position for combining the two images. I've got them both opened in Photoshop CC. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to drag that image across and place it on top of the nest, and then I'm going to close that image down. So that's gone, and here we have it. So the first thing to do is close down anything that's getting in the way. So I'm going to reduce the opacity of the top layer, and obviously we can see that this little boy is way too big for this nest. So I'm going to go to Edit, Transform, Scale, and I'm going to hold down the, I think it's a Shift button, to reduce the size of the image so he fits into that nest nicely. Now remember, don't make him too small because it's going to look unrealistic. We want a nice snug fit, but perhaps give yourself a little bit of room there as well, not too much, so when you're erasing you can blend it in nicely. Okay, so that looks good. I'm going to actually go to Free Transform and just drag it around to see if it might be better in a different position, but no, I think the initial position was actually perfect. So I'm going to press Enter, which will apply the transformation. I'm now going to increase the opacity to 100, and I'm going to now press Alt and the layer mask, which will put a black layer over the top of the image. I'm going to select a white soft brush at 100% opacity at this stage, and I'm going to paint on top of that black layer with a white paint brush, so that will reveal the image underneath. So I'm doing that now. I'm not worrying about being too accurate at this point. I know there are some colour differences in regards to the edited image of the little boy versus my background, and you can see those here. Oh, actually it's a pretty good match, but you can see that the background's a little bit more out of focus there, and also the green is a little bit brighter. So at this stage I have a choice. I can start blending, or I can see if there's a way that actually I can do this the easy way and just paint him in just over the whole green background, and it might actually work with this template really well that I'm not going to have to do much blending. So make sure you get those shadows. There we go. Okay. So you don't want to go over any of the flowers because that will make it look superimposed. Okay, there we go. That doesn't look too bad actually. So there are a few things that I need to do to make it look a little bit more realistic. So I am actually going to now switch to a black brush, and I'm going to lower the opacity to about 40%. And I'm going to paint a little bit back in, just so we've got, because there's a difference, that the fluff in the bowl is sharp and he's out of focus. So I'm just going to blend it in so it's not so apparent. And actually that opacity is a little bit too much, so I'm going to take it down to 29. Really, that bit is, you just have to test it to see what's appropriate. You see, if you made him a little bit bigger, you could actually have a foot going over the flower as well, which can make it look a little bit more realistic. I'm going to reduce the opacity one more time down to 17. So it sort of blends the focus and out of focus, so it all looks good. There's quite a lot of difference here, you can see, between the focus and the out of focus, so I'm just going to soften that a little bit. Okay, so what I want to check now is that I haven't missed anything. And I'm going to go back to the white brush and just go over his face and the hat and 100% opacity, his little tootsies, to make sure that everything has been revealed. Okay, so in terms of a composite, that looks good to me. The shadows are there, you can see the nice shadows underneath. It doesn't look superimposed, but he is a little bit too light. So obviously at this stage now you can flatten the image, you can save it just so you can always go back to it if you want to. I'm not going to, but you can. I'm going to select the lasso tool, it's at 200 pixels. I'm just going to do Ctrl J, and I'm actually going to darken him by going to multiply, which darkens those areas of the image. So I'm just going to go only about 13% opacity, but what that's done is that has darkened the little boy, so his skin is not standing out so much. That works for me. And at this stage as well, for me, his skin tones are a little bit too pink, so I'm just going to go to colour balance. I'm going to colour balance the whole thing because the difference is going to be really minor on the actual nest. I'm going to add a little bit of yellow and a little bit of red, and that's the before and after. That's only because I process my images on the warm side. I'm just going to do that at 50% opacity. Not everybody does. You might prefer colder colours. I generally don't. And for me, this screams up for a vignette. Again, different ways of doing it. I'm lazy, so I just duplicated the layer, clicked multiply. Now I'm going to do a vignette around there and press erase, which basically just reveals the middle of the image. And then I'm going to apply that vignette back, but just at lower opacity. I only wanted it darkened down around the edges a little bit, so you can see the difference there. You can go as heavy as you want. And that is it. That is the finished image combined, and that's that. Thank you.